Good morning, everybody. I'm going to talk today about Trump's inauguration and the chart of the USA. I'm going to put this on my normal tarot channel, but I'm also going to start a different channel for people that don't want to mix the tarot. I may put a couple in together to begin with, but the people that don't want to mix the tarot with perhaps things like this. At the moment, I think it's vitally important to be vitally important. I think it's interesting, to be honest, to recognize what's going on around us. There's so many changes in the world. It's coming so fast, and it's an unusual time to live in. And I think to be able to stop it and try and understand bits of it may be comforting. May be comforting. What I'm going to do today is to try and explain it. I'm going to slow down and try and explain in a methodical manner what I think may be going on. Some of it may sound a bit unusual, but life is very unusual at the moment. I'm going to start off talking about astrology with the planet Uranus. Uranus is a very slow-moving large planet, which is important in this whole conversation today. It's the planet of rebellion, electricity, eccentricity, shock, breakthroughs, lightning. What else is it? Originality, innovation, anything that's new. It's the planet that gets delivered into a system when things have gone stale and things need to change. But it can also get fed into your, it will seem like this, into your natal chart when your life has become a bit stale. Normally by somebody else coming into your life, it could be, or just new events being delivered, and you think, okay, didn't expect that, but it changed me a lot. It's that type of energy. But if a bit like Pluto, it can feel quite disruptive. The reason that I'm talking about or starting with Uranus is ever since I was young, I always used to read a lot of Edgar Cayce or Edgar Cayce, and he said that a lot of people will be born in these times now who have got a heavy Uranus signature in their charts, and he referred that to they were, this is going to sound strange, but like part of what was called a past Atlantean system or a continent that was called Atlantis. Yeah, let me explain this in a way. I don't, in my heart, believe that this was something that was on this earth, some land called Atlantis. I think it's more complicated than that, or it could even be a bit like a science fiction writer who can almost guess what's coming next. I don't know. I could go on for ages about this, but Philip K. Dick is the person that always comes to mind, but I think it would be too complicated to go into that now. But Atlantis was an era where there was huge technological advancement, like a technological epoch, at the same time a spiritual epoch. But the technology specifically, maybe the spirituality, I don't know, I can't remember, was misused with no ethical forethought. It was just misused until the land blew up, basically. I don't remember, to be honest. It blew up or it exploded, or there was floods. The flood myth is another one that can take you down a different route. And all those Aquarian type people, Uranus-y people, fled to different lands. Yeah, I know that sounds like a fairy tale, but the reason that I'm bringing that up is because we're going through those times now. Spiritual advancement happening at the same time as huge technological advancement, and I've been looking at Uranus signatures in the people in, well, Trump and his troop in the USA just over the weekend. I've not done a lot of looking at it, just a bit of meddling, I suppose. Before I start, it's interesting to know, or important to know, that in the world at large at the moment, Pluto is in Aquarius. Pluto is a very large, slow-moving planet too, which represents, I'm going to start on a positive, change. It represents, it's like a dark, psychologically delving planet that goes to the root of the problem and doesn't care whether it it's gritty and grindy in the process, so can often feel quite destructive or quite a strong journey, I suppose. And that's going through Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. So you're going to be mixing those two powers together. So you're going to be mixing the plutonic, the control, the psychological disruption, the awareness with the Uranus planet of shock, upheaval, rebellion, electricity, science, science and technology. I can't say technology, and technology. So that is what's going on. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got a myth here. I've got 2 planets that I'm looking for, and so I'm getting out the chart of the USA, which I haven't done very often, to be honest. And the first thing that I see is in the chart of the USA, which is basically what that country represents, is you've got Uranus on the main axis, which the 2 axes in anybody's chart or a country's chart, the horizontal one and the vertical one, are incredibly sensitive points. So to have such a slow moving planet conjunct an axis, to me, is saying this country is Uranus-y. I made that word up. So okay, I think fair enough. So then I'm putting the inauguration chart on the top of it to see what in the inauguration chart, which is now today, is kicking off the planets in the USA's natal chart, its birth chart. So you've got Jupiter, which is the happy-go-lucky, freedom-loving and wild and excessive planet stuck on the excessive Uranus. So first word I thought of when I thought of that was freedom, breakthroughs, first 2 words. But I also did think of excess as well. So that's the last word is something to be careful of. The first 2 words I quite like. Now, on the other side of the natal planet, the natal chart for the USA, you've got Pluto. That's it, sat here. What you've got is in real time today, in the inauguration, Pluto is very close to that. It's called a Pluto return. So it's all sort of saying, okay, let's wrap that up. Let's see how you have handled your power. So again, that is something that's coming to the forefront. You've also got the states, USA's south node, very close to its natal Pluto or its birth chart Pluto. The south node is like things you've done before, things that that you should have perfected by now, and to have transiting Pluto or the chart, the inauguration Pluto on top of those 2 with the sun is a real, it's like a knock on that Pluto and that south node saying, okay, how have we handled our power? Have we hidden things plutonic? Are these things about to be brought up Uranus and shown to the masses? So that is what I'm thinking. So we've got a huge sort of wake-up call with regards to how power has been handled. I'm actually saying this if I'm in the USA, and I'm with you here on this one. But we're all joining it together. So power, freedom, technology, hidden. It's this type of, is a game that's being played, which is very much what I guess is why I'm probably relating it to the Atlantis myth and Edgar Cayce saying that all these Uranus type people, there must be so many in the States to be actually born in a country that is represented by Uranus anyway. So anyway, I'm scribbling off looking at Donald Trump's chart. He has got, ready, I can remember this now, 10th house sun. 10th house sun, you can imagine that's somebody in the public eye. He has got his north node. Your north node is like a line of consciousness, and your north node, the south node, is like what you've done and what you've experienced, what's familiar, and you can almost like let it go, hopefully, if you've done a good job, hopefully anyway. And the north node is where you should be going in this lifetime. So his north node and his sun in the 10th house conjunct Uranus, very, very close. So he's coming through into this timeline, into a country that's already Uranus-y, with a huge Uranus job to do. Whether he's going to do that well or not, I can't say. I can't say. And then I'm going to a few people who I'm quite interested in here. Not lots of people. I don't know much about politics in the States, to be honest. Robert Kennedy Jr., looking at his chart, and he's got a 12th house south node. conjunct Uranus. So if you translate that to what we've just said there, what I've just said there, it's almost like he was one of those people that Edgar Cayce was talking about, as was Trump. It's like, how can you redo that energy? Or maybe not with Trump, because it's new, maybe new to him, I don't know. But definitely with Robert Kennedy Jr., it's like, when you were Uranus in your past lifetime, you may have been through what I guess is a storyline that may be similar to Atlantis. What are you going to do with it this time? You know, did you do a good job? That type of thing. Can you just let this go, or are you going to replay it? Elon Musk hasn't got strong Uranus in his chart, but I was just quickly looking at his chart. He's got a chart which is difficult, if you're not interested in astrology, to sort of explain it, but all his planets are almost like a bowl at the bottom, but he's got a handle on the top of it, which is a really strong focal point, and he's got a planet on that handle. It's called a bucket chart, and that is his Mars in Aquarius, ruled by Uranus. So he's going to have that air about him as well. Not quite strong as at Uranus, I suppose, as the other two gentlemen that I talked about. The other one that I looked at was Luis Elizondo, who was part of the disclosure program with UFOs in Congress recently. And he has got a T-square. T-square is another focal point. It's like a couple of planets, or at least two planets that are opposite, and then you've got one that's square that, and he's got Uranus as the focal point of his T-square. What that feels like is, I'll explain this, I'll have a bit of a sideline here. Watching the film Elvis, the new one, half a year ago, I can't remember when, and thinking, well, I know Elvis is Sagittarius and Pisces, and just off the top of my head, I didn't really know that well. Sagittarius, Pisces, Capricorn, but they put him on stage and he's like, his legs shaking, so I'm thinking, okay, all that excitement, all that energy, all that sort of amped up electricity feels Aquarius or Uranus. So I'm running home and looking at his chart. Probably not, probably looking at my phone during the film, to be honest, can't remember. And he's got a T-square to Uranus too. What that tends to say is that that person comes into this lifetime with that Uranus signature. Lou Alexandro has got that. I've written it down here exactly what he's got. Sun opposite Jupiter with the T-square to Uranus at the bottom. So you've got freedom. That's a freedom sort of signature that we talked about earlier. You've also got his lawyer, Danny Sheehan, who's got a very similar Moon Mars opposite Jupiter. Being a lawyer is a very Jupiterian thing to do, with his T-squared Uranus. So these gentlemen, there's not a woman there through choice. I just couldn't find anybody that grabbed my interest straight away. I don't really know much about these are the people that hit me in the face, because I don't live in the States, obviously, and I don't really know much about politics there. But those four figures, just to me, are Aquarian, Uranus-y figures. So to conclude here is what we're going to go through with this inauguration, and possibly what's happening in the USA with Trump, is going to bring to the forefront, because it's happening in the chart of the world anyway. It's happening, it's part of the USA chart, it's part of these people. They're going to, you know this already, but it's going to highlight the journey of what I guess is a combination of Uranus and Pluto together, which will be in a positive. Let's do the negative first. Let's do the negative first, because we'll leave on a good note. It could be using technology to dominate. Something subversive, something that is, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. The other, probably more negative one, I'm going to say, and we're talking about Pluto and we're talking about Uranus, plutonium and uranium. So I'm going to leave that there as well. But this is where I feel that it's going. I feel that, I'm hoping, to be honest, more than it's both, it's feel and I feel. To be honest, feel has only happened recently, and that's why I've not done any videos, because I felt quite negative about the whole thing, and I think, well, there's no point. But there seems to have been some sort of shift inside myself over the last week, maybe week and a half. But so this is what I feel is going to happen. I hope is going to happen, feel, I don't know, is it'd probably be a combination of both, to be honest, is that all the bits that have been hidden, maybe initially for our own good, maybe, that governments have got used to, may hopefully be brought out slowly so that both sides can cope with it, the people that hid it and us, and it hopefully be the beginning of freedom, which you're thinking, oh yeah, we're all free now, but not really. I could go into detail about this, but not really, not yet. So that is what I'm hoping for, is that, yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to get a combination of both for a while, isn't it, till it sorts itself out. But I'm going to keep a positive mindset on that and just hope that when the shit hits the fan, there's some truth in it. That's what I probably would want to say there. So to summarize here, is basically a huge Aquarian uprising, I would say, coming from the USA, because it's that in the USA's charts and the people that seem to be very prominent in the USA at the moment. But remember that Pluto is going through Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, so it's not going to be an easy journey, but hopefully at the end of it, I'm going to hold on to that Jupiter conjunct Uranus, that it's positive. I'm always trying to believe that Jupiter is a very benevolent planet, but it also is excess too. So I'm going to leave you with my thoughts there. I'm going to get this posted. Right, I'm going to leave you. Bye.